What inspires change? What motivates us? It's what's inside that moves us. What moves you? Get the Scion story at Scion.com.
Reacting to the dismissal of the Guam AG from the ORDOT consent decree case, GBB Principal Associate David Manning today expressing regret, telling K57 Breakfast Show host Ray Gibson that the governor's office has treated the Attorney General poorly.
You know, we're sad that the governor's office has moved down this road because, frankly, the Attorney General's office was badly mistreated by the governor's office in this entire scenario.
The Attorney General's office has not been bringing our interests forward in the court case.
Governor's Chief Policy Advisor, Attorney Arthur Clark, defends the decision to seek private counsel, arguing that Roland Mantegnonia, the private counsel now, will aggressively pursue cost savings for Guam taxpayers that the Guam Attorney General has not.
You know, the prospect of bringing in other parties to contribute potentially tens of millions of dollars to save us that cost, I think it's worth the initial investment of getting a law firm on board to start, kicking the tires and looking under the hood.
They've been seeking the money that exists still from the bonds from the 2009 bonds that are required for the closure of the ORDOT dump. And the citizens at ORDOT, as well as all of the citizens of Guam, are entitled to have the ORDOT dump properly closed.
One of the concerns the governor's office has raised is the issue of paying the court-ordered settlement to the former Luzon landowners, an amount estimated to be roughly $30 million now.
In 2008, the government of Guam, not the receiver or the court, appraised the value of the land for the Lejeune landfill, and they appraised it using a highly qualified Guam appraiser. And that appraisal of the amount of money that was required to compensate the landowners for that appraised value. So when this bond issue was issued, there was a good faith belief by everybody involved that those landowners had been fully compensated already. Now, the local court has since ruled differently, of course, and the government of Guam will have to deal with that problem.
But it's about a lot more than just compensating the landowners. It's also about paying back the bond funds that were borrowed, says Clark.
With the $200 million that we have borrowed, which is, again, projected to come short of finishing all the projects, Mr. Manning at GBB has only come up with a repayment plan that is passed on to the ratepayers, where we are going to increase our rates by 50%. So right now your residential monthly fee is $30, it's going up to $45. That 50% increase to $45 will only pay 75% of the debt service, the loan on the bond. We still have to come up with the other 25%.
The court has basically said that the monies that are available under the bond issue must be first used to close the ORDOT dump. And if the government of Guam must proceed, and frankly must proceed with payment for the judgment in the local court with respect to the property, then they will have to proceed on another basis.
However, Clark points out that the ORDOT dump was once a federal dump, and the feds should pay part of the cost for closing it, an avenue, he says, that private counsel will now pursue.
The law allows us to get contribution from every party that contributed to that environmental hazard, including the United States government, which actually opened the dump and was the original owner for the first 30, 40 years, I think, of its lifespan.
Clark also emphasizes that the administration is committed to capping the ORDOT dump and mitigating the environmental damage, but he points to a 2000 study on that issue done by WERI, the Water and Research Institute at UOG.
The climatic and topographic conditions continually conspire to produce natural cleansing processes.
So it's not as bad as it's been made out to be?
Well, he said as much.
The bottom line is there is a continuing flow of leachate from that dump into the river.
Again, if there is money that we can recover from third parties, that then is going to save the government of Guam the money it needs to cap the dump.
It is what it is. The judge found the obvious, and that is that there was a breakdown in communication between them, and Communication is required between an attorney and his client.
Kevin Kerrigan, PNC News.